Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post, as well as guided meditation programs. Between a full-time job in IT and a full-time job in podcasting, it gets harder and harder to sit down and read the books I'm interested in. This is where Audible comes in. I can listen on my daily commute, relaxing, or while out running errands and still get in the books I've been wanting to get into. You can download titles and listen offline anytime, anywhere. The app is free and can be installed on all smartphones and tablets. Now you can try Audible risk-free with a special 30-day free trial by visiting audibletrial.com/nerdery and murdery. That's audibletrial.com/nerdery and murdery. Don't let your busy life get in the way of that great book you've been wanting to read. Go get your free trial of Audible today. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. This is Geoffrey, and we've talked about many times before that I experience problems and struggles with my mental health, and really without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy does work. It's helped for me, but what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships at work, or you're not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's really time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles, and it's time to start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And there's a special offer to Nerdery and Murdery listeners. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/nerdery and murdery. That's betterhelp.com/nerdery and murdery. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
You asked for it and you're gonna get it. We're gonna talk about this.
Awesome. Welcome to episode 156 of Nerdery and Murdery.
Big 156. I'm Zig with your nerdery.
I'm Geoffrey with your murdery. Welcome to another week of the highs and lows, the up, the down, the good and the bad, the nerd and the murd. You're going to have to excuse me. I got new glasses, and they've got bifocals in them. So I'm getting very used to...
Yeah, you got to point your nose. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not used to having to look down to see certain things, and I may take them off before the time's up. I don't know. I don't know. It's just hard getting used.
They look great.
Well, they're hard getting used to. I mean, because I can see I didn't get progressive because my God, they're expensive.
Oh, dude, I had progressive at one time. The lack of a line messed me up.
Really?
Because I didn't know where to look. Like, and then there was that there is a transition line that if you look, which basically hits me right on the eye, if you hit it right there, it's hard to see.
Well, so, I like the look of the progressive, but they were like $1,100.
Oh God.
Like,
yeah.
No. So I've got the bifocals with the lines, and it's just sometimes that line gets right in my vision. It distorts things a bit, so I'm trying to get used to it.
Yeah.
So forgive me if I'm messing with them and pulling them on and off.
You're good, man. Yeah, like I said, point your nose at where you need to. It's what I've done for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to them because when I look down, I actually have to physically look down instead of just avert my eyes.
Well, what's crazy. fans, you may not know this. Geoffrey wore glasses up until he was 30.
That may be close. I mean, I don't remember how long ago I got LASIK. It's been a very long time since.
And he got LASIK, and then he didn't wear glasses for a long time.
Yeah, I think I got LASIK 20 years ago.
Yeah.
At least that. I don't know. That was I don't know. But yeah, but just got to a point where gotta wear them now again.
Yep.
Every now and then. I mean, I can see without them. It's sometimes a struggle, but it's not too terribly bad. I'm trying to wear them as much as possible to get used to these. So
they look great.
Thanks. And it's hot.
It is hot. It's hot. It's hot up here. I can't imagine it being not any cooler down there.
Heat index yesterday was 114.
Oh my God.
Today they're saying it could be as much as 119.
Oh my God. And you're not that far from the ocean, so it's humid too.
Oh, it's insanely humid. It's insanely humid. We usually on a Saturday and a Sunday we'll play 18 holes of golf each day, and we got through 9 and we're like, no, we're done.
Going home. Yeah, you may have to play later in the evening.
Oh, it's still hot then.
Oh.
Realize it's still hot then. I don't know. We're gonna play tomorrow at like 9:30 in the morning. So
early in the morning. Okay. Try
that, and we'll probably play this afternoon, but I doubt we'll get more than about 9 in. So yeah, the heat is just brutal down here. Brutal.
Wow.
So anyway, with that, I'll let you take over on this super fun nerdery side of the house.
This is a fan asked for episode. I don't know if everybody remembers we did Laugh Out Loud movies, and we've done Laugh Out Loud series. There's some other people who are like, hey, there's some movies that you guys didn't include. So we got a few people that asked for these, so we're going to talk about them today. The first one is Trading Places. And yeah, this one's pretty funny. This is a laugh out louder.
Yeah, I've seen this one many times. It's a good movie. I didn't think about it. I mean, like it doesn't hit my top 10, but
no.
I've already given that list. But yeah, I do agree that this is a laugh out loud movie. It's a
definitely
funny movie.
Laugh out louder.
One of Eddie Murphy's earliest.
Yes, it was like 48 Hours. This and then Beverly Hills Cop. Oh, and
48 Hours first.
Yeah, 48 Hours. He did in like 82. That was like his first thing.
I didn't know that was his debut.
Yeah. And he did that movie with Dudley. And then he did that movie with Dudley Moore about the designing of the tank, and then he was the guy in the tank 3 years later.
I didn't like that movie.
Oh, I liked the movie. It wasn't great. It just I don't think it was terrible, but it wasn't,
Want to see a better movie? The name of the movie. Want to see a better movie about tanks? See the Pentagon Wars.
Oh my God, the Pentagon Wars is hysterical, and it's true.
Yes.
So yes, Trading Places. It's a 1983 American comedy film directed by John Landis with a screenplay by Timothy Harris and Herschel Weingrod. It stars Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Ralph Bellamy, Don Amici, Denholm Elliott, and Jamie Lee Curtis. And I know Dan Aykroyd had been around for a while, but he dropped some weight for this movie. And I don't know what he did, but he looked so young in this film. He looks younger in this film than he did in a film he did before this, if that makes sense. It may have just been the way he, dressed and spoke. And the film tells the story of an upper-class commodities broker, Dan Aykroyd, and a poor street hustler, Eddie Murphy, whose lives cross when they are unwittingly made the subject of an elaborate bet to test how each man will perform when their life circumstances are swapped. Harris conceived the outline for Trading Places in the early 1980s after meeting two wealthy brothers who were engaged in an ongoing rivalry with each other. He and his writing partner, Weingrod, developed the idea as a project to star Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Ooh, I kind of want to see that now.
Best Defense was the name of that movie.
Best Defense, thank you. Thanks for looking that up.
Mm-hmm.
When they were unable to participate, Landis cast Aykroyd, with whom he had worked previously, and a young but increasingly popular Eddie Murphy in his second feature film role. Landis also cast Curtis against the intent of the studio, Paramount Pictures. She was famous mainly for her roles in horror films, which were looked down upon at the time. Principal photography took place from December of 82 to March of 83, entirely on location in Philadelphia and New York City. Elmer Bernstein scored the film using Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart opera Buffa, The Marriage of Figaro, as an underlying theme. In the years since its release, the film has been reassessed both privately and negatively. It has been praised as one of the greatest comedy films and Christmas films ever made. I always forget this is a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
But retrospective assessment have criticized its use of racial jokes and language. In 2010, the film was referenced in congressional testimony concerning the reform of the commodities trading market designed to prevent the insider trading demonstrated in trading spaces. In 1988, Bellamy and Amici reprised their characters in Murphy's comedy film Coming to America. They're the two bums on the street.
Yeah.
I like this film. One, it addresses the idea of you get ahead because of who your parents were.
Mm-hmm.
I straight up, it pulls no punches.
Right.
It's gotten worse since 1983. Because if you catch a couple of breaks, you could have made it back then. Now, not so much. But yeah, it's poignant and oh my God, it is so funny.
Yeah, and this movie holds up. I mean, I highly recommend seeing it. This is a great one for the list. I like this one a lot.
Oh yeah, and oh my God, just brilliant. The next one is Overboard. Overboard is a 1987 American romantic comedy film directed by Gary Marshall, written by Leslie Dixon. It stars Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, and produced by Roddy McDowall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of Chelsea's favorite movies. I've only seen it because of her.
Yeah, co-starred alongside Edward Herrmann and Katherine Helmond. Love Katherine Helmond. The film follows the demanding wealthy socialite who suffers from amnesia after falling from her yacht while vacationing on the Oregon coast, only to be taken in by a working-class carpenter whom she mistreated. The film's soundtrack was composed by Alan Silvestri, while the Wright brothers' music used in the film was produced by Gary S. Paxton in Nashville. It was a box office disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Overboard has become a cult film. In an adaptation, an Indian film, Ekladka Edladki in 2006 was made, as well as an adaptation into the South Korean television series Couple or Trouble. And in 2018, it was remade with Anna Faris and Eugenio Derbez. The plot of the 1997 Malaysian film Maya Poman is loosely based on this film. It's about this wealthy woman who has her own yacht and fortune, along with her husband, Grant Slayton III. While waiting for her yacht to be repaired in the fictitious seaside town of Elk Cove, Oregon, Joanna hires local carpenter Dee Profit, a widower with 4 sons, to remodel her closet. Dee produces quality work, which she dismisses because he used oak instead of cedar, despite her not having requested this at the start. Dean agrees to redo the closet if he is paid for the work he's already done. To no avail, the two have an argument during which he berates her for her entitled attitude. This results in an angry Joanna throwing Dean and his toolkit into the water. That night, the yacht sails away. Joanna goes to a deck to retrieve a wedding ring, but loses her balance and falls overboard. She is later fished out of the water by a garbage scow and suffers from amnesia. And after seeing her story on the news, Dean seeks revenge by encouraging Joanna to work off her unpaid bill for the hospital. And he tells her that she is his wife, Annie, and the mother of his 4 unruly sons. She reluctantly goes home with him and is appalled by the family's ramshackle residence. Again, this is kind of a haves versus the have-nots. I see a pattern here. When this movie first came out, I didn't really appreciate it. I saw it. I didn't think it was that funny. I've seen it again since then, and I thought it was a pretty funny film. What do you think about Overboard?
I thought it was funny enough. Like I said, this is one of Chelsea's favorites. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
It's not great to me. It's got some very funny moments.
yeah,
Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn play well off each other.
yeah. The acting is fine.
And actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure who Goldie Hawn doesn't play well
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
because she's really good in most everything I've seen her in. If I'm going to go Goldie Hawn for a funnier movie, I'm going to go Seems Like Old Days or Seems Like
Okay.
Old Times. Seems Like Old Times. Her and
Seems like
Chevy
old times are great.
Chase.
Yeah, and Charles
Um,
Grodin. Oh
and
my
Charles
God, Charles
Grodin. I
Grodin
think
is so
that's a
good in
great
that.
one.
Mhm.
Not as funny, but I think a better movie is Foul Play.
Yeah,
With her and Chevy Chase again, a murder mystery.
Private Benjamin. I watched
Private
that
Benjamin.
recently.
Private
I
Benjamin is
forgot how good that movie.
outstanding.
Yeah, I forgot how good that movie
Outstanding.
was.
She was just a really great actress, but yeah, they play well off each other in this movie, and it does have some very funny moments, and it ends up being a romance, like you said. It's a
Mhm.
comedy romance. Would I put it in my top 10 laugh out loud? No,
Not even close.
but it's worth a watch. It's good enough to watch.
Yeah.
I'd give it at least one.
It's funny. I have not seen the remake. I watched part of it because it was on. I was doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right. What I saw was all right. The two leads did not have the chemistry that Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn had. But again, like you said, I mean, Goldie Hawn has chemistry with everybody she's on screen with.
Oh God, best friends.
That's what she does.
Best friends. Her and Burt Reynolds.
Oh my God. Oh yeah,
That's
that
a
was
great movie where they're the two movie writer or TV writer. They're script writers.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. That's a funny movie. So yeah, I could see different Goldie Hawn movies in the list than this. This is not my favorite of hers. It's okay. I think there are much better movies with her in it.
Yeah. Wildcats.
Never saw Wildcats.
Oh my God, Wildcats is great.
Yeah.
She's this straight up hardcore coach, and everybody gives her shit for it. And then she just she outpaces all of those boys, and they're like, oh my God. She's like, okay, I beat you all in a race. You got to listen to what I say.
Yeah, I knew what that movie was about. I'd just never seen it.
Oh yeah, love that movie. Saw that one in the theaters. Laughed out loud. The next film is Mrs. Doubtfire. It is a 1983 American comedy drama film directed by Chris Columbus and written by Randy Meyer Singer and Leslie Dixon. It's based on a 1987 novel, Madame Doubtfire by Anne Fine. Robin Williams, who also served as producer, stars with Sally Field, Pierce Brosnan, Harvey Fierstein, and Robert Prosky. It follows a recently divorced actor who disguises himself. Recently divorced voice actor who disguises himself as an elderly female housekeeper to be able to interact with his children. The film addresses themes of divorce, separation, and the effects they have on a family. This movie was a hit.
Mm-hmm.
It also won an Academy Award for Best Makeup, Golden Globe Award for Best Musical or Comedy, Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy. It grossed $441.3 million on a $25 million budget, making it the highest grossing film of 1993. It was placed 67th in American Film Institute's AFI's 100 Years of 100 Laughs. But basically, it talks about a freelance voice actor living in San Francisco. He's a devoted father to his three children, a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 5-year-old. But his wife is a work-obsessed interior designer, considers him immature and unreliable. One day, Daniel quits his job following a disagreement over a morally questionable script and returns home to throw a chaotic birthday party for Chris despite Miranda's objections due to Chris's bad report card. The aggravated Miranda to the point where she files for divorce. In their first custody hearing, the court grants sole custody of the children to Miranda. And Daniel, having visitation rights every Saturday due to his unemployment and homelessness status, shares custody is contingent on whether Daniel finds a steady job and a suitable residency within 3 months. In order to rebuild his life, Daniel secures himself an apartment and a new job as a shipping clerk, but learns that Miranda is seeking a housekeeper. Daniel secretly alters her classified ad form, then calls Miranda while using his voice acting skills to pose as a series of undesirable applicants. Daniel finally calls in as Mrs. Euphigenie Doubtfire, an elderly British nanny with strong credentials. Miranda is impressed and invites Mrs. Doubtfire for an interview. Daniel asks his brother Frank, a makeup artist, and Frank's domestic partner Jack to create a Mrs. Doubtfire costume, and he wears it every day and becomes their nanny. This is not anywhere close to my list. I didn't think this movie was that funny.
And I don't either. It's got some very funny moments.
Yes, it does. Harvey Fierstein is fucking hysterical in this film.
This is more of a feel-good movie.
Yes.
Than a laugh out loud movie. It's not bad by any means.
No.
Mrs. Doubtfire is very good.
The makeup's incredible.
Yeah, Robin Williams is great in it. Sally Field is great in it. Pierce Brosnan.
Yep. The kids were great.
Yes, they all are. But it doesn't have as many laugh out loud moments as I would like to put in a list like this.
Yeah. The only one I could think of off the top of my head is "It was a drive-by fruiting."
Or when his fake boobs catch on fire.
Yeah. Or when he's having the drink with the guy and he's trying to sell the idea and he's in costume and then he's out of costume, and at one point he's half in costume, and that's when he sells the guy the idea of making a Mrs. Doubtfire show.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, but
there are some definite funny moments in this, and it, like I said, it's a good movie. So don't take what we're saying as it's not a good movie, because it is a very good movie.
It is.
And definitely well worth a watch. But if you're looking for one that's going to make you laugh out loud throughout the whole movie, which is kind of the point of what we're talking about, I just wouldn't have that one in the list.
No.
List.
Nope, me either. This is not a doubt. I like it just fine, but again, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I think they build it as a comedy, and I think that was the problem. You're right. This is a family movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what this is. This is a family movie. This is not a comedy.
Definite family movie.
Yeah. But again, when we view it from that lens, the movie's just fine. It's great.
Yeah.
The next one is My Cousin Vinny. I think this movie is hysterical. It's a 1992 American comedy film directed by Jonathan Lynn, written by Dale Launer, and produced by Launer and Paul Schiff. It stars Joe Pesci, Ralph Macchio, Marissa Tomei, Michael Whitfield, Lane Smith, Bruce McGill, and is the final film appearance of Fred Gwynne. The film is distributed by 20th Century Fox and released on March 13th of 1992. This movie did quite well. And Marissa Tomei got an Oscar for this film.
Correct.
I can see why. She was great. Macchio and Whitfield play William Gambini and Stanley Rothstein, two young New Yorkers who were arrested in Alabama and put on trial for a murder they did not commit. But they were unable to afford a lawyer, and they're defended by Gambino's cousin Vinny Gambini, newly admitted to the bar, who arrives with his fiancée, Mona Lisa Vito, Marissa Tomei. And the clash between the brash Italian-American New Yorkers and the more reserved Southern townspeople provides much of the film's humor. The principal location of filming was Monticello, Georgia. Everybody underestimates this dude, Vinny. Everybody, including one of his clients. And my God, Ralph Macchio playing, like an early 20-something kid. He was like 35 when he did this movie. He still looked like a baby. I can't say anything bad about this film. I just watched it recently, And I forgot there were parts of it that were so funny when he's addressing the scenes in the court when he's addressing how to cook grits because they all assume he doesn't know, except that Vinny is a bulldog. He gets a hold of something and he does not let it go until he has understood it. And Joe Pesci dialed into that so much that it borderlines obsessive compulsive in his portrayal in this role. And that's what this needed. That's why he is so good. And Marissa Tomei just kind of rides the wave of this insanity as Mona Lisa, and she's great. I understand why she got the Oscar for it. What do you think about this film?
So the funny thing is, when we got this list and I was going through it, and trying to want to give watches and everything like this, I had never seen this movie.
Oh my God.
So 2024 is the first time I've ever seen My Cousin Vinny. It was brilliant. It was funny. Marissa Tomei steals every scene she's in, which is why she got the Oscar. She's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
But probably the funniest parts of the movie, every time he tries to go to sleep somewhere new, the noises just constantly wake him up until he's in jail. And the noises there don't wake him up at all.
Yeah,
he has the best sleep he's had since he gets down there.
I think at one point he just shows up at the jail to get a good night's sleep.
Yes, it's brilliant. It's a great courtroom movie. I'm a big fan of courtroom dramas, even courtroom comedies and things like that. It's brilliant. The prosecutor, what is that actor's name?
Hold on, Michael Whitfield.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I love him. He plays such a great character in everything he plays. But this movie is brilliant from start to finish.
Oh my God!
This is a great movie. Yes, laugh out loud throughout. This one belongs for sure.
Definitely.
Great.
I can't believe you hadn't seen My Cousin Vinny.
I had not, and I regret that I'd never seen it.
Oh my God! So for all this time, when I look at you and go, "What the hell is a Ute?" You didn't understand what I was saying.
Oh yeah, I did. I knew that scene's famous. That scene is absolutely famous. It was in the trailers.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I knew. I knew it was Fred Gwynne. I knew it was
Joe Pesci.
I'd known that for years. I knew who all was in this, and I had heard that Marissa Tomei was brilliant in this movie. I just never sat down to watch it, and
right on.
I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad this is in the list because that was a great movie. I would watch it again for sure, and it's laugh out loud throughout the whole thing.
Yes,
brilliant
film.
Yep.
The next film is School of Rock. It is a 2003 comedy film directed by Richard Linklater, produced by Scott Rudin, and written by Mike White. The film stars Jack Black, Joan Cusack, Mike White, and Sarah Silverman. Black plays struggling rock guitarist Dewey Finn, who is fired from his band and subsequently poses as a substitute teacher at a prestigious prep school. After witnessing the musical talent of the students, Dewey forms a band of fourth graders to attempt to win the upcoming Battle of the Bands and uses winnings to pay his rent. School of Rock was released on October 3rd, 2003 by Paramount Pictures. It grossed $131 million worldwide on a $35 million budget. The film received positive reviews from critics who praises for Black's performance and humor. It was the highest grossing music-themed comedy of all time until the release of Pitch Perfect 2 in 2015. A stage musical adaptation opened on Broadway in December 2015, and a television adaptation aired for 3 seasons on Nickelodeon from March 2016 to April 2018. So yeah, here's the thing about this movie. If we were going to do a Richard Linklater film that was laugh out loud funny starring Jack Black, I would have picked Bernie.
Don't know that one.
Also based on a true story. This is actually there was a guy who started a musical school for gifted kids just to get them out and doing something other than studying.
No, I'm sorry. If we're going to put a laugh out loud Jack Black movie, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
I could put that one this list. School of Rock. Not only did I not find it funny, I mean, I was, if I remember right, because I had texted you, I think I was like 45 or maybe 60 minutes in. I hadn't laughed yet.
Yeah.
I didn't find hardly any laugh, not laughed out loud, but hardly any laughs in this at all.
Okay.
I just didn't find it funny. I didn't find it that good of a movie.
I like the movie okay.
I struggled to get through it. I was bored. I was bored with this movie.
Yeah, I like the movie okay. I've seen it like twice. That's it. I mean, it's okay. Bernie, I've seen 10 times. Richard Linklater made this movie about this guy from East Texas. Matthew McConaughey's mama is in Bernie. That's how Texas this movie is. It's all East Texas people. And Bernie is incredible. It's about a mortuary guy who makes friends with the evilest woman in town, and he ends up killing her and hiding her body and spending all her money. And he gets caught, and no one wants to put him in jail because she was evil and she deserved it. All in Carthage, Texas in the 80s. Oh my God, it's hysterical.
Well, and Joan Cusack is wasted in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think she was good in this. I like Joan Cusack as an actress. I
like
mean,
everything she's ever done. Yeah.
I mean, this reminds me of another movie that probably could have made my list. It's close with Joan Cusack is In and Out with her and Kevin Kline. Brilliant
oh my
movie.
God. In and Out, so funny.
So hysterically funny. You want to see Joan Cusack at some of her best. In and Out.
In and Out, yeah.
In and Out is great. I think part of this is I'm not a huge Jack Black fan. I think Jack Black reminds me a lot of Adam Sandler in that he can go over the top.
Yes.
And the comedy doesn't get funny when he goes over the top. Some of his Tropic Thunder was a great role for him. Because the over the top was perfect for that role, and I think he was great.
Oh, the one where he's the luchador. God, I can't remember the name of the movie. He was great. Yeah, Nacho Libre. Loved him in that.
That didn't look like anything I'd like.
Oh my God, yeah, but it's the point where his over the top fits the character.
Shallow Hal is a good example of where he can act and not be over the top.
Yeah,
that's a good movie, and it's funny.
That Christmas movie he made, which I don't think anybody saw, with Kate Winslet, he was really good in that. He was just a dude. He was just a
Christmas movie with Kate Winslet.
Yeah, where they God, what was the name of that movie?
I'm looking.
I don't think anybody saw it.
Not sure. I'm looking right now, see if I can recognize anything.
Yeah, but it was a rom-com, but he wasn't being funny. He was just
well, and that's the thing about Shallow Hal. It's a rom-com.
Yeah.
And I think I think that one is I think that one is well done. And I think he's really good in that one. He can be good without being over the top, but Jack Black sometimes just goes to the extreme, and I just don't like when he does that, because like I said, it's like Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler has some good movies. He also has some bombs, and most of those bombs is when he goes too far. He goes over the top. In this one, I just, like I said, I didn't really even enjoy this one.
You didn't like it at all.
Is it The Holiday?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
Who else were you saying was in that?
Kate Winslet.
Yes, she's in it. It's The Holiday.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cameron Diaz is in that one too.
Yeah.
but yeah, I just, I hate this for our fans that put it in here, but I just did not even enjoy this
Yeah.
movie. I just really, really
Nope.
didn't.
No, like I said, I did not enjoy it, but as far as a laugh out loud movie with Richard Linklater, Jack Black, I would have went with Bernie. And if
Yeah.
you've never seen Bernie, sit down and watch Bernie. It's
Oh,
great.
Bernie's the Politico flick.
What?
Him and Will Ferrell?
No. It's about a murder.
I thought Bernie was the one.
Bernie Tiede is the name of the person. He's in prison right now.
Yeah. I'm looking.
It is definitely, it's a labor of love for Richard Linklater.
What was the one that he was in that was kind of like a political opponents against each other? I'm looking through Jack Black. Because there was one, and I didn't see it, but I thought that's what you were talking about. Damn it, my keyboard didn't type. I'll find it while you talk about this, I'm sure. But yeah, this one, it's just like I said, I hate to be this way about something that a fan submitted, but this one I just didn't enjoy.
Well, I mean,
really
we told them we pick them apart.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, give
Yeah.
our own
Yeah.
our own thoughts
Yeah.
on it, but yeah, it's just,
yeah. If you like School of Rock, you will love Bernie, and you will look at it next to School of Rock and go, yeah, this movie is way funnier. And again, School of Rock was more of a feel good movie than a comedy, than an open comedy. Music was all right. It was all right. It's not not necessarily my cup of tea.
I can't find the movie I'm thinking of.
The next film is French Kiss. I've been quoting this movie since the mid 90s. This was like one of those movies that we all watched over and over again in the mid 90s. You remember that? It is a 1995 romantic comedy film directed by Lawrence Kasdan, starring Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline, written by Adam Brooks. The film is about a woman who flies to France to confront her straying fiance and gets into trouble when the charming crook seated next to her uses her to smuggle a stolen diamond necklace. French Kiss was filmed on location in Paris, the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region of southeastern France, and Cannes. The film was released in the United States on May 5th, 1995, and received mixed reviews. The film was a success and went on to earn a total worldwide gross of $101 million, almost 102. A Hindi remake of the film named Prior to Hona Hai Thai was released on July 24th, 1998. And the 2004 Malayalam comedy filmed Vitam was also based on French Kiss. It was the last movie to be shot by cinematographer Owen Roisman before his death in 2023. American history teacher Kate lives in Canada with her fiance Charlie, a doctor. When Charlie urges her to accompany him to Paris for an upcoming conference, she declines, partly due to her fear of flying, her intolerance for cheese, and the stereotypical idea she has about the French. Days later, Charlie calls Kate saying he has fallen in love with Frenchwoman Juliette and will not be returning. Determined to win him back, Kate boards a flight to Paris and is seated next to Frenchman Luc Tessier, whom she instantly dislikes. Unknown to Kate, Luke is smuggling a vine cutting and a stolen diamond necklace into France, hoping to use both to start his own vineyard. To tolerate Luke long enough to arrive in Paris, Kate gets drunk. Before deboarding, Luke sneaks the vine and the necklace into Kate's bag, knowing she will not be searched at customs. At the terminal, Luke is spotted by Inspector Jean-Paul Cardone, who searches his bag. Jean-Paul knows of Luke's vocation, but feels protective of him as Luke once saved his life. Meanwhile, Kate arrives at Charlie's hotel. While waiting in the lobby with thief Bob, this is his stuff. This is your stuff. I got it back from Bob. Who? Bob. Oh, Bob. We bad. I'm sorry. The way the French say Bob and the way we say Bob is different, and it's funny. It's one of those films. This movie is charming, and it's funny. Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline, as two people who both love and hate each other at the exact same time, is brilliant. Jean Reno as the detective following them around. Plus, you get to see all this lovely French countryside, and you realize, oh yeah, France is mostly farms. You got the big city of Paris, you got a couple of other big cities, and the rest of it's just fields of stuff to eat and drink that they grow, and it's lovely and wonderful and beautiful and funny. Kevin Kline is hysterical in this movie.
Kevin Kline is brilliant, I think, in everything I've seen him in.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be unpopular in this one because I don't really like this movie, but he's still brilliant in it. A Fish Called Wanda. I'm not a fan of that movie.
Really?
No, not really. That was kind of a movie I felt was a little over the top, but he's brilliant. Kevin Kline in so many movies that he's absolutely brilliant. French Kiss is definitely one of those. This is a good movie from start to finish. This is one I've seen many times.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny. Definitely belongs in a laugh out loud list because it has lots of laugh out loud funny moments. It's also very heartwarming. It is a rom-com. And it's very good. It's complete tangent though. As I was looking up this movie just now to look for something, I don't even remember what. An actor popped up when I typed in French, and it reminded me of a movie that absolutely could hit this list, and I hadn't thought about it, but it's a great movie. But French Stewart in the movie Love Stinks.
Oh my God!
Is
oh my God! Oh my God! The scene where he goes to bed and he's like, "Yeah, I had some cabbage rolls polished off with crab cakes."
Yes. Yes.
And he farts very loudly and goes, "Olay!"
That movie is hysterical, and I hadn't thought about that one in a while. I need to see if I can find that one somewhere because I need to watch that one again.
Oh my God, Love Stinks was so funny.
Side tangent on that because that's
what we were gonna do. Yeah, we were gonna. I think we even said, hey, we'll even give you recommendations if we think this movie's terrible.
Yeah,
Love Stinks, one of those films.
Yeah, Love Stinks is great. Looks like that's free on Freevee, so yeah, I can probably get that on Amazon Prime. Nice. But French Kiss is great. This was a great recommendation for this list because it is laugh out loud funny. Yes. It doesn't hit my top 10 because I think there are funnier movies, but this is a great movie.
Yeah. The next one is Princess Bride. Princess Bride, S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure, the good parts version, is a 1973 fantasy romance novel by American writer William Goldman. The book combines elements of comedy, adventure, fantasy, drama, romance, and a fairy tale. It is metafictionally presented as an abridgment of a longer work by the fictional S. Murd, and Goldman's commentary asides are constant throughout. It was originally published in the United States by Harcourt Brace and then later by Random House, while in the United Kingdom it was later published by Bloomsbury. The book was adapted into a 1987 feature film directed by Rob Reiner, starring Robin Wright and Cary Elwes. William Goldman said, "I've got more responses of the Princess Bride than on everything else I've done put together. All kinds of strange outpouring letters. Something in the Princess Bride affects people." When the original edition failed to sell well, author-editor Spider Robinson convinced Goldman to let him excerpt the novel, namely the duel scene in an anthology, The Best of All Possible Worlds. Robinson believed that helping the novel reach the right audience. In 2015, a collection of essays on the novel and a film adaptation was published entitled The Princess Bride and Philosophy. So basically, this dude wrote this book in 1973, which is the story of a little boy getting read these bedtime stories, and as a grown-up finding the novel and realizing the bedtime stories he was told as a kid were a small part of this very political, nightmarish novel, and all he knew was the fairy stories. And his coming to terms with sometimes your memory of childhood is only a small piece of the whole narrative, which is what that novel is about. In 1987, Rob Reiner made a film of just the fairy tale because he thought the fairy tale was worth mentioning. He did put the boy and his grandfather in there, but only as a framing device. But what's weird, if you watch that movie, and there are a lot of people who have, if you notice, the grandfather is only reading a small section of that book.
Mm-hmm.
It's only opened basically right in the middle. He's not reading any other part of that book. He's only reading the fairy story. So it kind of goes into the novel. But since most people didn't read it because it didn't sell that well, one of the copies was bought by Rob Reiner, and he spent 10 years making this movie. The movie is a fantasy adventure comedy film. It stars Cary Elwes, Robin Wright, Mandy Patinkin, Chris Sarandon, Wallace Shawn, Andre the Giant, and Christopher Guest. And it was an adaptation of this novel. It's very swashbuckling, but the metafictional narrative style is lost a little bit, but they do kind of include it. The film was released in the United States on September 25th, 1987. It was well received by critics, and it has become somewhat of a cult film. And it has been listed in the Library of Congress for Preservation of the United States, National Film Registry, as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. It's basically a tale about Buttercup, a young woman living on a farm in a fictional kingdom of Florin. And the farmhand who falls in love with her and leaves to seek his fortune, she finds out he's been killed, and then she's courted by the prince and is about to become the princess or the princess bride. And Wesley shows up as a swashbuckling pirate. Prince Rugen actually wants to go to war with the country next to them, so he has some guys kidnap the princess, and Wesley has to go and save her. And then, keep saving her. Although she's pretty tough herself. There are so many lines in this movie that are infinitely quotable. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Mm-hmm. It's on shirts with the little hello, my name is. There are parts of this movie that are laugh out loud funny, but I wouldn't necessarily put it in a laugh out loud funny list. Having said that, this is one of my favorite films.
And it's one of my favorite too. I've seen this one tons and tons and tons of times. I think there are some very good laugh out loud moments in here.
Yes.
Not throughout the whole movie, because it is a fairy tale, and it's a very, very good movie. Definitely see this movie if you've never seen it. If you're looking for a laugh out loud movie, not as much.
No.
So again, we're not, don't take us the wrong way that we're saying it's a bad movie, because it's not. It's a brilliant movie. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely worth a watch. Cary Elwes, is it Elwes? Elwes, whatever.
Oh, maybe it is Elwes. I've always said Elwes.
I think it's Cary Elwes, but anyway.
Oh, in which case I've been pronouncing his name wrong for years. I'm sorry, Cary.
He's another actor who's brilliant in everything I've seen him in. Mm-hmm. Even Saw. I thought he was brilliant in Saw, but Princess Bride, and I mentioned it earlier, the Pentagon Wars, because he's in the Pentagon Wars and he's brilliant in that. Mm-hmm. He is a phenomenal actor. He's really, really good. Yeah. And this is probably him at his best.
Oh yeah.
I think his absolute best. Give this movie a watch if you're looking for a really, really good movie. If you're going out there looking for a laugh out loud movie to just laugh hysterically, not going to be one of those.
Yeah. You'll get some of it.
Yes.
No more rhymes than I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? I can do that all day. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
No, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I can do that all day. But yeah. This is not a laugh out loud movie directed at the Criterion. Let's see. The next film is Waiting. Waiting is a 2005 American independent black comedy film written and directed by Rob McKittrick in his directorial debut, starring Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris, and Justin Long. McKittrick wrote the screenplay while working as a waiter. No shit. Yeah, it's obvious. Specifically at a chain restaurant.
It's a Bennigan's.
Yeah, it was a Bennigan's.
Yeah, that's not the name. I think it's Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
But they filmed it inside of Bennigan's. I could tell. I worked as a waiter at Bennigan's.
The script was initially sold in a film deal with Artisan Entertainment, but was released by Lionsgate Entertainment, which purchased Artisan in 2003. Producer Chris Moore and Jeff Bayless on Live Planet's Project Greenlight fame also took notice of the project and assisted. The film made over $6 million, more than twice the budget of the film, on its opening weekend. The film takes place during a single day at Shenanigans, a franchise restaurant. Dean, who had been working there for 4 years, learns that his mother that a schoolmate recently graduated from college and has secured a high-paying job as an electrical engineer. Dean's co-worker, Monty, takes new employee Mitch through his training, introducing him to the staff both in the restaurant and kitchen. Monty also shows Mitch the penis showing game, where the male staff deliberately expose their genitalia to their unsuspecting co-workers, as well as the way the staff deals with rude and entitled customers. In one scene, food is sent back with the kitchen staff then gladly contaminated with spit, dandruff, and other unsavory bits. The remaining wait staff are Serena, Monty's ex-girlfriend, Natasha, the underage hostess who shares a mutual attraction with Monty, Amy, who is Dean's girlfriend, Calvin, a hopeless romantic who cannot urinate in public, and Naomi, a constantly angry waitress. Managing them is Dan, who offers Dean the assistant manager position in competition to Calvin. An altercation with a customer who left a pitiful tip to Dean's results in Dan demanding an answer from him by the end of the day. This movie is so funny if you've ever worked in the restaurant industry. I don't know if this movie is as funny from someone outside because I've never spoken to anybody who hadn't worked in food services.
Yeah, I'd be really curious on that as well, and I've thought that many times. It's especially funny for me because I worked out of Bennigan's.
Yeah,
and it's just like that. And I tell people when I talk about this movie, I say it all the time. Every single thing, and I mean every single thing that happens in this movie happened in a restaurant.
Yep.
None of it's fake. None of it is exaggerated by any means.
No. As a matter of fact, I would say in some cases it's a little toned down.
Yeah. I was really upset at myself that I didn't think of Waiting when I thought about top 10 laugh out loud movies, because this one is from start to finish another one that is laugh out loud.
Yes. I would say, okay, so this one, we know that it's laugh out loud if you've ever worked in food services.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, put that point on. And I would love to know, because I love that you said that. I would love to know from somebody who has never worked in the restaurant industry if this movie is as funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I think it's brilliant. I think it's hysterical. I love this movie. I have seen this one many times. Forewarning, the sequel, not as good.
No. It's not unfunny.
It's not unfunny, but it's nowhere near as good.
Nope.
So, I don't necessarily recommend going on to the sequel, but definitely Waiting. The first one is great. I'm glad that this one was brought up to us because I love it. I love it.
The person that recommended this to us, did they work in food services?
I don't remember if he did or not. I will hear from him when this episode comes out.
Maybe a while. I'm curious because he may be our case study.
Yeah, I don't know if he did. Well, he and I both worked in fast food.
That he's gonna fast food's gonna have a similar response to it.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yes, and some of the hijinks from there happened at the fast food place we were at too.
Yes.
So yeah, so I don't know if he worked in a full service restaurant, but he and I did work at a fast food place.
I never worked as a waiter front of the house in a chain restaurant.
And
I worked as a waiter front of the house in a mom and pop restaurant.
Yeah.
And I worked back of the house in hotels and other restaurants.
And let's make that point. It's very, very different.
It is very different.
The waiting or working in a mom and pop or singular location than a big chain.
Mm-hmm.
The big chain is where a lot of this comedy comes from, because the big chains will hire people with less experience and younger people usually that just seem to get into hijinks.
Yeah. Well, they want young people. A, they won't bug them for more money.
Yeah.
And B, they look nice. They look nice and young, and that's what they want to attract.
Right. And when you go out to eat, if you go out to eat in a chain restaurant, and I mean, I'm talking a big chain.
Yeah.
Do not, whatever you do, send your food back. Just don't.
I cannot stress this enough. Never, ever, ever send your food back.
In a chain restaurant. If you go to a singular location or an upscale location, something's wrong. Yeah, send it back. Chain restaurant, a Chili's, an Applebee's, and sorry, I'm throwing them out there, but things like that, do not. You've got people in the back that do not care enough to really make it right, and will generally fuck with your food. It's happened time and time. And
sometimes they're looking forward to it.
Yes. So, and that's kind of what comes into play in this movie as well, is someone who sends their food back and the things that can happen to a food. I'm not trying to put down these major restaurants because I don't want them to come down on me and send their lawyers and everything like that. But I'm sorry, this is what it is. It's been this way for many, 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 many years.
Yep.
In a chain restaurant, you just don't have the people that really give as much a shit.
Yeah, it's not like a mom and pop. Mom and pop, they kind of give a shit. Everybody wants to see that business succeed. People at the back of the house of the chain restaurant do not give a shit and are actively waiting to screw with somebody.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, and it may be the money. It may be the money. And the local ones, maybe they get paid better. I don't know. I don't know why it is, but I'm not singular in this mentality and what I'm saying. There are other people who have worked in chains that will tell you the exact same things we're telling you.
Yes.
This is no secret that's out there that I'm spilling to the world.
God, no. Everybody knows it.
So
they put it in a movie.
Yes. So Waiting, watch it. Good movie.
Watch it. Oh God. Yeah. Really funny. And if you've never worked in any sort of food service capacity, hit us up and tell us what you thought about it, because we really
want to hear that.
Yeah.
Complete side tangent again, which I think is very funny. Ryan Reynolds is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds plays Deadpool, of course, and I love Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
I yesterday golfing, I hit a ball into the water. And I went out to I got my retriever stick to go retrieve it because I thought I saw my ball out there. Well, I didn't, but I saw like 5 others, and I'm a big whore for that. I will take found balls. I call those we call those punishment balls, and I take those out on holes where I'm worried about water or anything like that because I don't want to lose my good ones. But anyway, so I pulled one out. And it was a Callaway like I like these particular Callaways that I use.
Are you there? Video stop for a second.
Okay. No, I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
I like Callaways, the ones that I use. And anyway, so I pulled this out and it was Callaway. I'm like, oh, this I think this is one of my balls I lost, but it's not, because I turned it over and it said Deadpool on it. So anyway.
The final film in our list is Idle Hands. Idle Hands is a 1999 American plot, follows the life of an average, lazy stoner teenager, Anton Tobias, whose hands become possessed and go on a killing spree, even after being cut off from his arms. The film title is based on the saying, idle hands are the devil's plaything, or the devil makes work for idle hands. The movie bombed at the box office, grossing $4.2 million from an estimated $25 million budget. Despite this, it has since gained a cult following. Mr. and Mrs. Tobias are settling into bed when they notice a message on the ceiling and hear a noise from outside. Mrs. Tobias calls the police, but she gets dragged under the bed and killed. Their lazy stoner son, Anton hasn't noticed their disappearance in 7 days. One morning, Anton runs out of weed and goes to his friend Panub's house to get some more. But he says he's run out of weed too. Panub and his other friend, Mick, suggest that Anton should go and talk to his neighbor, Molly, the girl that he likes. He sees Molly dropped her lyric books and goes to return it, but he ends up being pretty awkward. Anton goes home and makes himself a sandwich, and he notices the knife he's using is covered in blood and his cat Bones playing with an eyeball. Running in a panic, he trips and finds his parents. Mick and Panub show up at Anton, and Anton shows them the bodies. Then they figure out that the killer is Anton. Mick tries to call 911, but Anton pulls out the phone cord and claims that he isn't the killer. But he murders Mick with a glass bottle. Anton promises Panub that he didn't mean to do it, but they find out Anton's hand is possessed. His hand chases Panub into the basement and tries to stop his hand so Panub can escape. But his hand overpowers him and decapitates Panub. Anton's hand throws Bones out the window, and he goes to look for him. But the hand pulls onto Molly's porch and rings her doorbell. Molly takes Anton into her room to make out, but her parents come home, so Anton leaves. Anton buries his friends and parents' corpses in his backyard, but Mick and Panub come back as zombies and knock him out. An elaborate swimming pool sequence utilizes a large pool model, wall of hands, and a hellhole visual. While initially planned as the film's final hand encounter, however, initial post-viewing tests suggested the ending didn't quite mesh with the overall intended tone of the film. A replacement shop class sequence with both comic and horror elements was subtitled, delaying the film's release for several months. The original swimming pool scene was mostly completed effects, can be watched on bonus features on the DVD. My friend who brought this up, she was like, dude, no one ever mentions this film. I think this film is hysterical. I would agree with her. This isn't, I would not put this in my top 10 because I hardly ever think about this movie, but it is really, really funny. Eldon Henson, who was Foggy in the Daredevil series, and Seth Green play the two stoner friends. After they come back as zombies, they're in most of the scenes, and every scene they're in is funny. Everything they do, everything they say is hysterical as vengeful zombies. The scene with him just being high and tripping over his parents, also hysterical. But this movie is dark. Dark. It is definitely a black comedy. But yeah, this is one of those ones that I would say, yeah, I understand why she put it in here. Not one of my top 10, but a good one. And it is hysterical, especially once the two friends become zombies. That's where you don't stop laughing.
If I were to put a zombie movie in this list, I would much rather the one that that what's his name did.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, Shaun of the Dead. I think is a better movie. I think is a funnier movie. This doesn't go in my top 10 laugh out loud movies. It just doesn't.
Doesn't? Okay.
No, there's some funny things in it, but I think this one is a little too dark.
It is dark
to be in there. So no, I don't know. There are better laugh out loud movies I could come to. I mean, one that I could have put in the list that I think is probably just outside of my list is The Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
That's one that I laugh hysterically every time I see it. Old school.
I'm a Coxman, sir.
Yeah, Old School is another one.
Yeah.
One that I see people say all the time that is a laugh out loud movie that I only recently watched, and not only did I not think it was really funny, but I didn't think it was particularly good, was Trainwreck. That's the Amy Schumer film. Amy Schumer, Bill Hader. There's like, I don't know, a couple of funny scenes in it, but definitely not to the level that I've heard so many people say on that. I was disappointed with that one, but
yeah.
But
I don't think I've seen it all the way
School,
through.
I struggled to get all the way through it. I fought through it.
Well, I mean, I watched part of it, and I think the kids were in the house, and it was pretty raunchy. I'm like, I probably ought to show it. I turn this off with little kids in the house. I mean, the older kids, I don't care. They're adults. Yeah. Screw them. But yeah, and it's one of the things I just never picked it back up. So I can't say one way or the other about Trainwreck because I only saw like 10 minutes of it.
Interesting.
Yep. But that is it for our fan curated list. I think we only had 9 in that one. I think we may start doing lists of 9 instead of 10 because I don't know. I don't want our episodes to run too long.
I don't think we need to round it out at 9. I think 10 is. I think
10 is fine.
10 is right.
All right. Well, maybe we'll do another one of these.
No, I mean I think they're fine. I just love that we had a fan curated list.
Yeah.
I want to do more of those for music and things like that. The things that we've done on our top 10 lists or genres that we've done. Definitely let us know things from those lists that you thought belonged. This was a great one. It was fun to go through. Like I said, most of them I liked, but whether they were laugh out loud funny or not is a whole nother thing. But it's still a good list, and I appreciate the list from the fans. Awesome. Well, with that, we'll take over on the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
For today, I got my information off Medium, Wikipedia, the Daily Mail, and the Mirror, and this is the story of Russia's cannibal couple.
Russia's cannibal couple.
So a young couple, or a couple, they weren't necessarily young, but they weren't old either. Anyway, whose crimes shocked Russia after they were exposed as cannibals, were only exposed after they took photos of themselves posing with body parts. When Dmitry and Natalia Baksheev first got together in 2012, she was a struggling alcoholic who drifted from one dead-end job to another, while he was a laborer and petty criminal who had served time for burglary. They were two ne'er-do-wells floundering in the sea of life, and it was clear early on in their relationship that they were made for each other. At some point during their courtship and subsequent marriage, the pair discovered that they were opposite sides of the same coin. While he was weak-willed and crass, she was intelligent and engaging when it suited her purposes. And the coming together of their personalities made for a very deadly combination, as the world would soon learn in time. Dmitry and Natalia were allegedly butchering dozens of people over a period of 18 years before police finally discovered the cannibalistic lair that was hidden in their flat, including cutting off body parts and photos of their human meat dishes.
Good God.
Dmitry was born in 1982 and Natalia in 1975. So, like I said, not young, but not old. Natalia worked for some time as a senior nurse in the sanitation department of the Krasnodar Higher Military Aviation School of AK Surov pilots, but was dismissed due to her chronic alcoholism. Unlike Dmitry,
holy shit, she was dismissed for chronic alcoholism in Russia?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Unlike Dmitry, she was mostly raised by her grandmother because her mother died when she was very young. She had always aspired to be a doctor from a very young age, and she was married twice before meeting and marrying Dmitry. The two ended up moving to a hostel of a military school in Krasnodar, and neighbors described Natalia as a drunkard. Again, in Russia, as described her as a drunkard.
Yeah. Damn.
It was rumored that she mixed alcohol with drugs. Dmitry was placed in an orphanage by his mother shortly after birth, and he stayed there until he was adopted at age 3. At 15, Dmitry lost his adoptive mother due to cancer. But this isn't the only misfortune he would experience during that time. He got kicked out by his father, Vladimir, shortly after his mother's funeral, and he became homeless at the age of 15.
Oh, dude.
He had been tried for robbery and car theft, but all of his convictions had been extinguished. He worked as an apartment repairman and general worker. And the Bakshievs had lived together since 2012 in a school dormitory, the room being inherited by Natalia from her previous husband, but the couple led a very antisocial lifestyle. So the horror show that was the Bakshievs came to light in September of 2017 when a road crew in Krasnodar discovered a discarded cell phone lying in a ditch. Once they retrieved the device, they were surprised to find that it was still in working order, and out of curiosity, they began scrolling through the pictures. Rather than finding and identifying the rightful owner, the photos revealed evidence of cold-blooded murder. The men couldn't believe their eyes as they viewed a series of images that appeared to show a man's severed head with various human body parts stuffed into his gaping mouth, including a disembodied hand. There were also several pictures of a man gleefully posing with a woman's detached head. And then, when they thought it couldn't get any worse, they came upon a photo of a serving platter that held a bloody human head surrounded by citrus. That image had been captured sometime in December, suggesting that the gory display had been the centerpiece of someone's Christmas dinner table. Ugh.
Yeah.
They continued looking through the gallery. Oddly, each picture was more shocking than the last, and the men became convinced that what they were seeing was the work of a dangerously sick mind. And knowing what they
I
had,
wonder if it's something like you're watching it, you're looking at it, you're looking at it, you're looking at it.
You just can't stop.
And I cannot stop. I need to see.
Yeah.
I need to see if this is real or not.
Well, they did the right thing, and they headed to the local police station without any further delay.
Oh, yeah.
And once the police had the evidence in hand, it didn't take authorities long to trace the cellular back to its owner, who they learned was a street cleaner named Dmitry Bakshiev. They brought him in for questioning, he readily admitting to having the pictures, but claimed the whole thing had been a misunderstanding. The way he told it, he had happened upon the bodies completely by accident while scavenging in the woods, and instead of being put off by the sight, he thought it would be amusing to take a few selfies with the corpses, some of which had been dismembered. After viewing the images, he feared that others would get the wrong idea and threw the room over an embankment. So this is his story.
Yeah.
The officers didn't believe a word of his story, and they arrested him. Realizing he wasn't going to be able to lie his way out of the situation, Dmitry changed his tune and confessed to killing all the victims who appeared in the photos. According to him, what they had found on the cell phone was just a small part of a much larger puzzle. He went on to say that he had murdered at least 30 people, and what's more, he hadn't worked alone. He named his accomplice in question as his wife Natalia, who he claimed had played a major role in both the slaying and disposing of the bodies afterwards. And police were happy to let him dig his own grave. They were, though, a bit surprised at how eager he was to throw his wife under the bus. Dmitry explained that he and Natalia had chosen the majority of their victims at random. In most sites, they would arrange meetings with strangers on matchmaking websites. And in many cases, they used ether and a Russian drug Corvalol, which was a main substance in phenobarbital, to make their victims sleep. When their unsuspecting dates showed up on their doorstep, they would take them to a nearby shack and stab them to death. And then after that was done, they would get to work on dismembering the body. On occasions when they were feeling particularly perverse, they would drug their victims with sedatives before skinning them alive.
Oh.
And while every aspect of this is abhorrent, it's what they did next that really shocked the detectives who were assigned. The couple had worked at various times at the local aviation academy, which trained student pilots, and although she had been a nurse by trade, Natalia spent most of her time helping out in
the kitchen.
Her experience as a cook had come in handy when it came time to butcher the remains of their victims, which she then preserved for later use. And sure enough, when their home was searched, there was a hodgepodge of body parts, which was found in both the refrigerator and the freezer. There were jars containing pickled human tissue that were also discovered in the cellar. And Dmitry, who at this point is turning into a font of information, told him that his wife would often add the remains to meat pies she would then sell to restaurants on commission.
Mrs. Mickens.
In an effort to build her business, she would hand out free samples on the street to entice passersby to purchase her homemade goodies. And over time, she became so confident in her abilities as a chef, she started sharing her concoctions with the cadets at the military academy where she was employed part-time.
Jesus H. Christ.
Later on, of course, they would be horrified to learn that the source of the meat in which they had been tricked into consuming. Among the grisly finds during the search of the couple's home was one particularly shocking picture. In one of the photographs, a cooked human head lies on a dish strewn with tangerines. Instead of eye sockets, there were olives and a lemon attached to the nose. The picture was dated December 28, 1999, which led to the suspicion that the couple had been killing and eating people for 18 years.
Good God.
Also in their home, they found many mobile phones of the victims and also video lessons on how to cook meals from human meat. And another chilling item found in the couple's home was a recipe book that explained dinners to make using human remains. And this book was written in Natalia's handwriting. The last known victim of the couple was a waitress named Elena Bakrusheva.
Good job.
Right there. She made the mistake of showing up at their home one evening for what she had been led to believe was a dinner party. Shortly after her arrival, things turned ugly when Natalia accused the 35-year-old of having an affair with her husband. When it became clear that things were getting out of hand, Dmitry had settled the argument by stabbing Alina in the chest, thus proving his loyalty to his wife. The pair had then dismembered the guest body, salvaging anything they deemed edible. And the cell phone was discovered a few days later, effectively bringing their cannibalistic killing spree to an end. In the picture found on Dimitri's phone, he can be seen holding a severed hand and sticking the fingers into his nose and mouth. Investigators do believe that this hand belonged to Alina. The police search later led to more of Alina's body parts, including her severed head, which were located in a trash container near the pair's home. Investigators were appalled by the state of the Bakshiv residence. It was a cluttered mess which reeked of rotting food. They literally had to kick their way through it. And even so, the shed in which most of the victims had spent their final moments made the dwelling look like a palace. There was a rundown shanty that was polluted with filth of every kind, and the site they referred to as the crypt was something out of a nightmare. Agents described the acrid stench of death and decomposition of having been almost unbearable. Stinking of decay and brimming with trash, the place where most of the murders had allegedly been carried out wasn't even fit for man or beast. As tragic as the case was in every sense, those who saw it through to the end had taken solace in the knowledge that thanks to an eagle-eyed road crew, no one else would fall prey to the two of the most brutal serial killers in recent memory. In spite of their horrifying nature, the crimes had gone undetected for several years before they'd finally being discovered. And this led investigators to believe that the couple had no plans of stopping anytime soon. In 2019, the Bakshis were brought to trial in connection with the death of Alina, who was the only victim whose fate could be proven in a court of law. Both Dmitry and Natalia underwent psychiatric tests before their respective trials and were judged to be mentally healthy. Criminal lawyer Dr. Yulia Fedotova claimed the murder and slicing up of Alina's body was carried out by a skilled butcher who had previous experience, indicating it wasn't Dimitri's first murder. When all this was said and done, Natalia was convicted in 2018 of inciting her husband to commit murder and sentenced to 10 years in a penal colony. She testified during her trial that her husband, quote, put the body parts in the bathroom, cut the skin off the skull, severed the ears and lips with his teeth, and ate them. Upon her release, she will be subjected to strict supervision for 18 months before being released into society. And since investigators haven't brought any additional charges against Natalia, she'll be released from prison in 2029 at the age of 54. After being found guilty of Alina's murder, Dmitry was ordered to serve 12 years plus 2 months in a maximum security strict regime penal colony. He had been incarcerated for less than a year when he died unexpectedly from complications of untreated diabetes mellitus at the age of 38. And if it's true that future behavior is dictated by the past, his passing may very well have saved countless victims to come. And that's the story of Russia's most notorious cannibal couple.
That is amazing. I have never heard that.
I hadn't either. I thought
like I had heard about Citizen X.
Mm-hmm.
Because they made a movie about it in the late 90s, early 2000s, but I had never heard of
this couple. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. Many as 30 people. I mean, it's just nuts. Ugh. So there you go. Nice dark tale for you for your
thank you.
Listening pleasure.
Thank you.
Listening or viewing pleasure, whichever.
That's true. You can watch it on video.
So that'll take us to the end of another recording week. As always, you can find more information about us on nerdandmurd.com. That's our hub for everything we talk about. You'll find links to what we've discussed plus pictures, and you'll also find the link to our YouTube page, which keeps continually updating.
Yes. There are plenty of instances and examples of the stuff that we were talking about today.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Also on our website, you can find the link to our merchandise, or if you wish to show off your nerdery murdery fandom, please do consider that. That, along with our patrons, you can find the link to our Patreon site. Our patrons do help with the costs that go on with this show. There are costs to keep us on the air, our website, our domain, and producing everything like that. So please do consider donating to the show or purchasing some merchandise. It really does help us. Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
And last but not least, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It helps us and helps others find our content that may be looking for the stuff we talk about. So with that,
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your murdery.
Cue the music.